How does a regular person get started in real estate? Perhaps you're married and you're wondering, how could I and my spouse do real estate together? Today, we will look at how a married couple can come together and get started in a real estate journey on the Life Support Podcast. Dillon and Paige Kuhbacher are former school teachers, now turned real estate investors. They reside in Wyoming. Dillon, Paige, welcome to the Life Support Podcast.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Good to be here.
How did you both first become interested in real estate?
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yep. That was the book that got us into real estate.
Yep. Got us into real estate. Investing anyway. Before that book, we kind of had the mindset, just the same old trope. Well, this could be our biggest investment ever when we buy a house. And just kind of looking at it as Robert Kiyosaki would say, more of a liability, something that takes money out of your pocket rather than an investment, which would put money in your pocket. So that kind of changed our mindset and got us hooked on investing.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How much time did it take after reading that and after having that mindset shift before you took your first step as far as investment goes?
Probably a couple months.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Dillon had read
Not long.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then told me, you've got to read this book. So I listened to it as an audiobook and I was like, oh my gosh, people do that and it's not that hard. And so that was our first step. We started looking at rental properties, try and build some of that passive income because we were both teaching at the time and not quite sure if we wanted to give our time to that for the rest of our lives.
Yeah,
so
25 years or more.
Yeah.
So how do two school teachers transition from school teaching into, okay, we have to buy these properties? That obviously takes money. How does that happen? Or how did it happen for you two?
I guess it started a couple years earlier when Dillon said, we've got to buy this house. And I was like, are you sure? We'll see. And so we bought a foreclosure.
Nasty, smoked in, brown nicotine on the walls. Yeah.
It was a value add opportunity for sure. So we saw the potential, and right after we closed on it, we came over and scraped popcorn off the ceilings and took a wall out and poured ourselves into it for the next few years. And then
for the next couple of years. And then 2020 rolls around. We had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we're kind of working on our mindset and trying to think, okay, what is passive income? How can we generate some of that? That sounds pretty all right, So we come around to doing a cash out refinance on the equity that we had built in our home to buy our fourplex in 2020, late 2020. My first investment property.
So it sounds like there you almost seemingly created money out of thin air, so to speak, or perhaps had money you didn't know you had and were able to use or utilize to invest. Amazing.
Yeah, we realized
and tax-free
that the market had appreciated and we had built a lot of sweat equity in our house,
and we were just sitting on
it. I had no idea that was a thing. I just thought you pay your house down as quick as you can, and that's how you live your life and you go to work. And I didn't realize that there was another way to live your life.
So how did friends and family respond to what you all were doing, or were they even aware of it?
Reluctantly.
A
little bit of
just kind of, are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure?
And that hasn't really changed.
A little bit of you're crazy, but go ahead and do it anyway.
Are you sure you guys want to do rentals?
We, after doing a cash out refinance, which my family's a big Dave Ramsey family, so that's a huge no, don't ever touch that equity, But after doing that, or the debt, right? Exactly. So, which, there's a place for that, good debt, bad debt, I guess. It's another conversation for another time. But after that, once we had left teaching, we pulled our retirement accounts and put them toward, we had to pay the tax, everything as we withdrew it. But we put those funds toward more investment properties, and I still don't have a 401k or anything like that. No sort of traditional retirement account, but those funds have, as a percentage, I don't even know how much our $15,000 that we put into our townhouse has grown. It's created about $80,000 in equity just with market timing and everything. As far as return on investment, while the stock market and traditional retirement accounts are tanking, we're able, fortunately, to be appreciating.
And even if the equity kind of dips, there's somebody paying off that property every month with the renter in there, and eventually it'll be free and clear and we'll have a really good investment on our hands.
Now, you mentioned that you read Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that's what really kind of spawned the mindset shift. Were there other avenues for education for each of you all along the way, or was Kiyosaki's book sufficient for you to start investing?
No, right after that, I read Brandon Turner's book, like How to Invest in Real Estate or Rental Property Investing. There was 2 of them. And then we just listened to their podcasts and then started figuring out how to use the calculators on Bigger Pockets. And we were pretty much self-taught through books and podcasts. Nobody in our circles
nobody in our family really invests in real estate. Nobody in our community that we speak with, or we're actually starting a meetup, so hopefully that'll change soon. But don't have a huge local community around us. So I think Rich Dad Poor Dad lit the fire, and we continued to do so much more after that.
My next question is, since you two are married and you're working at this as a married couple, how has the cohesion been along your journey? Have you been lockstep the entire time, or has it taken some persuading here or there with one or the other? How has that been?
I think Paige is really smart. So that helps a lot. She's the brains. I just try to do what she says. I've learned that's the right move.
You're kind of the pusher, and I'm like, okay, let's look into this.
I want to well together. She wants to withdraw back and make sure it's logical before we do anything ridiculous, which is a really good.
Yeah,
it's a good team.
Yeah, we work together really well as a team, for sure. If you share the same vision and you have the same goals, the rest of it comes easy. But Dillon's kind of more the visionary. He has big ideas, and I'm kind of like, let's see, let's walk through the steps, and I'm more of the integrator.
Dillon, would you be more abstract and Paige you more concrete, or would that not really be the right or accurate way of looking at it?
On some things, and it's funny because on other things it's not always that black and white. There are some roles that Paige doesn't enjoy as much as I do, and I guess it's just whatever feels light and whatever feels heavy, as far as burdens go. So we just try to match up with that and then communicate goals and visions with each other, and that's really helped us stay cohesive, as you said.
What advice would you two have for someone, a regular person who says, you know what, I want to get into real estate? What do you think they ought to do? What do you think their first step or steps should be?
Great question. Educate yourself as much as possible. That's kind of where we started, right?
Yeah, I think the mindset is huge for sure. Reaching out to other people who are doing it and partnering is huge. When we first started, people would say partner up and use other people's money, and we were like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't know how you do that. So we finally just put ourselves in a situation where we found a really good deal and we just had to find the money. So we partnered up, and you just can't be afraid to give away some equity and work together. Like, nobody makes money in this business alone. Definitely community.
Just get out and do it too. Don't overthink it. Pressure creates diamonds.
Don't be afraid of, failing, because you will. Success is not linear for sure. You'll just have to make those mistakes and learn and move forward.
Yeah, and even if you don't have the luxury of your spouse being your business partner and everything, find somebody else to hold you accountable, somebody else you can bounce ideas off of, somebody else that is just doing some similar things or enjoys it as much as you, and it makes it more fun, and that connection really builds serious opportunities.
When you mentioned partnering up, don't be afraid to give away some equity. That is one thing that is continually challenging me. I used to think about business and real estate as kind of a dog eat dog, zero sum game kind of thing. And one of the things that I'm really embracing and I love, but I apparently don't love it enough because I have to keep learning this lesson over and over and over again, is that everybody can win. It's a big pie. I don't have to eat it all. And y'all just made an excellent point with that. We're partnering up and not being afraid to go into it together. Great stuff. How could someone get in touch with either of you all if they wanted to make contact? What would be the best means for that?
Facebook, Dillon Kuhbacher. It's not Dillon. A lot of people throw that extra I in there, like million. But Dillon, O-N, Kuhbacher, and Dillon_K_307 on Instagram. Please do reach out. We're looking for private money all the time. looking for new friends, looking for connections. Just want to talk real estate.
I'm easy to reach on Facebook. I have my number everywhere because I'm a realtor. I'm just Paige Kuhbacher on Facebook, and then on Instagram it's Paige K307.
Well, Dillon, Paige, it's been a privilege to converse with you all this evening, and I thank you all for joining me on the Life Support Podcast.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thanks for having us.
Now let's recap what we learned from our interview with Dillon and Paige today. They did 3 main things in order to get started in real estate as a couple. First, they took action. It was not very long after reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad before they got started in their real estate journey. Second, they used each other's strengths. Dillon was more of a pusher and a visionary, and Paige was more of a puller who would raise more questions and slow things down. And both are necessary if you are going to succeed. And their strengths used together in tandem produced beautiful success in their real estate journey. And lastly, they partnered up. They got help. As we've seen before in a previous podcast, you should not go at this alone. Real estate is a relationship business. So 3 things: take action, use your strengths, and get help. And if you do these things, you too can succeed in real estate.